sort of rebasing of the world economies, particularly the Indo-UK relationship. And although Mayor of London, he now has, I think, 3 offices in India, because he recognises the vital significance of trade and the bilateral relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone.
Can I echo what the previous speakers have said in the people they've named, the contribution those people have made to this developing relationship? And can I say that, basically, there isn't a single word that we just heard from the Prime Minister that I don't find myself in complete agreement with. There are several elections taking place at the moment. We're getting a bit of coverage here in London for this one. But one I've been following with great interest in the debate in the United States. And far too much of that debate is about a defensive character. Who can raise barriers? Who can raise walls? And the reality is this: there is no future for any modern economy in raising walls or barriers. But you know what will happen? The countries you keep out will strengthen. And when those barriers come down, it will be devastating. Our view is quite simple. We should grow with the great new emerging economy. We should exchange with them. We should bring down the barriers and share that growth in order to create a global future in which we don't think of ourselves in such distinct and isolated blocks. And that is the very key choice that London faces here. I made no secret about my ambition. I want to see every Indian firm looking to the West to see London as its natural base of operation in Europe, if not the whole of the West. And we set out quite deliberately to make this city welcoming to this great new emerging economy. In the last year, half of all the global growth of GDP was in just 3 nations: Russia and China and India. And we wish those nations to be welcome in this city, feel comfortable in this city, to see this as a city that can service their needs. We have a huge advantage. We have the largest Indian community anywhere outside the city. It is over 500,000 people. It runs tens of thousands of firms. It provides jobs to hundreds of thousands of Londoners, and it has been dynamic in its process that it's led to the changes in London. This is a city transformed by its openness, and we want to see that stuff. That's why I think opening those offices in India is the most significant long-term thing that you can do. That those offices are there to encourage trade, to encourage investment, to encourage students to come, to encourage tourism. I want to see literally every Indian considering London as a natural second home, and when they come here, feel safe and secure. And this is a city that welcomes people from abroad. It's a city in which, over the last 8 years, racial and anti-Semitic incidents have been halved, and it's because leaders of faith communities, of politicians and business people have gone out and made the case for engaging and integrating and sharing. And here in this city, I think we have a supreme example of what the world can become. Far too many politicians rise to power, as Slobodan Milosevic did in Yugoslavia, by dividing, by creating fear. Our job is to actually show what it is we share in common with each other. Because wherever you go in the world, whether you're, I've had the good fortune to trek all the way out to Everest Base Camp. I'm able to do this because Mrs. Thatcher, our policy PLC, and I'm employed for a year. And as a young man, what now be called a gap year, I crossed the Sahara Desert twice. But whether I was with Nepalese people in Gurkhas in a very small village, 15,000 feet up, or whether I was with a group of Tuareg tribesmen in the Sahara Desert, basically when you go in the world, what people want is that their children should have a future. They should have their own economic fortune secure, and that they should not be threatened, and they should be free to live their life as they choose. And we as politicians and business leaders and diplomats, I think, have the duty to show what it is that unites us rather than what divides us. We do that brilliantly here in this city. And I want to see us work on that and build on that, to make the case for engagement, to make the case for continuing to bring down the barriers against trade. I'm really delighted and proud that in the British government, We've had a constant voice arguing for reducing the barriers, because we know the best way to help and assist the poorest people in the world is to bring down those barriers that Western economies arranged around themselves in that post-war period when we feared too much engagement and change. There is no future for any nation that looks backward to the world that's gone. There's no future for a Little Englander mentality in this city. The mentality we need is that we're global citizens, and we share and we grow and we compete against and with one another, and are strengthened by that process. And I commit myself in what, as Steve said, hopefully is not a career drawing to a close, but it has to be revitalised by an electoral mandate to build on what we've begun already, to actually make certain that those links continue to grow, that more Indian firms come here, see this as their natural base of operation in the West. We've got to make certain that we're providing the workforce, because when Gordon talked about, when I went to Mumbai and Delhi, I was shocked and a little scared actually of just the way people are working there to get their qualifications, develop their skills. There's always a short-term advantage for those nations blessed with natural resources, but the real long-term advantage is the nations that invest in developing the skills of their own people. And one of the things I'm particularly delighted is that this government is transferring control of the skills and training agenda in London to the Office of Mayor, and I want to make certain we work with you in business to make sure our universities and our schools, we're producing the skills and the dynamism and understanding of people that enable you to grow in your industries here and then to achieve their full potential. So let's look forward to the work we do in the future. I think, I always say, London's best days are yet to come, and certainly that is true of the ESB. Thank you very much.